David Lightman was a master at computer games, a fast thinker.
Oh, David! Maybe you could tell us who first suggested the idea of reproduction without sex.
Your wife?
Get out, Lightman.
And a promising student at an old game.
Hi.
With an electronic twist.
Are those your grades?
Yeah. I don't think that I deserved an F. Do you?
You can go to jail for that.
Only if you're over 18.
This computer company is coming out with these amazing new games in a couple of months.
But I want to play those games. Wow.
What?
We got something.
He found the right code word to play the game.
We're in.
But it was the wrong computer.
Shall we play a game?
How can I ask you that?
How about global thermonuclear war? Fine. All right.
What the hell? They're trajectory headings for multiple impact re-entry vehicles.
How's that mean?
I don't know, but it's great.
All stations, this is Crystal Palace.
I wonder if I should use my subs.
22 Typhoon-class submarines departing Petropavlovsk.
What in the hell's happening here?
Oh my god.
Shall we play?
I have 7, correction 8. That's 8 Redbirds. Get on the sack. Tell them to flush the bombers.
Russians are still denying everything, sir.
Who are you working with?
Nobody.
Why don't I believe you?
Overday, we have Soviet missile warning.
Placed under arrest pending indictment for espionage.
Espionage!
Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high.
Cobra Dane, is this an exercise?
Negative, this is not an exercise.
Give me the president on the horn.
It's still playing the game! It's gonna start a war!
Close up the mouth.
Is this a game or is it real?
WarGames. Playing soon at a theater near you.
Shall we play?
Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1983 thriller WarGames, starring Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, Dabney Coleman. It's an all-star cast. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week on the B Movie Club, I discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the past. Go ahead and go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, and give us the big thumbs up. Go to our page on YouTube at KD9575. Hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the B Movie Club. Get all the latest updates whenever I post a new video, any interesting facts or links about the genre. You get it all in one place, okay? Well, one place if you don't mind subscribing to 3 different things, if you catch my drift. So there you have it. Good times. Don't forget to spread the word. The more the merrier. Come one, come all. Okay? WarGames. In this movie, David is a young malcontent kind of computer hacker in high school. He's having issues. He's being sent out of class for talking back to the teacher. But he's got this ability with computers. He's able to hack into certain systems. He's a genius who acts up, basically is what I'm trying to tell you, okay? Along the way, he meets a young classmate, Jennifer, and they have kind of a flirtation going on there. And to impress her, he goes and hacks into the school's computers and changes the grades for himself and for her for this class they're failing. They don't want to go to summer school. Can you blame them? And later he's like, you know what, I want to hack into this new video game company. Is coming out with a new video game. I want to check it out. So he tries to do it. Little does he know, at this exact same moment, NORAD, which is in charge of the defense of the entire United States, has this program called WOPR. WOPR is an acronym that stands for War Operation Plan Response. And it's this big old computer that basically plays war games in its own head. Okay, and to anticipate potential nuclear issues with our big enemy at the time, the USSR. Okay, so it's planning these simulations over and over and over again, so that when it really does go down, it'll be ready to strike. And at the beginning of the movie, this government type who works for NORAD wants to turn over all decision making to Whopper. Okay. Whereas the general at the time, he's like, no, 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 it's important that we have, actual people with their hands on the trigger to make those decisions rather than turning it all over to the computer. So anyway, they decide at the beginning of the movie, you know what? Let's just, eliminate a level of decision making and just, call the president. The president says, okay, nuke him. We turn it over to the Whopper, and the Whopper will decide the best way to do it. That sort of thing. So good times. So, while David's trying to hack into the computer system, he accidentally hacks into Whopper, not realizing it's not the video game company, it's NORAD. And he says, list of games, and all these games pop up because, again, the computer, Whopper, plays these different war games. Okay? Now, of course, David's scrolling through this. It's like chess and checkers and blah, blah, blah. Strategy type games that I guess Whopper's used to help him kind of logic and, anticipation and strategy and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, he doesn't choose to play chess or checkers. He goes, thermonuclear global war. That sounds great. Let me play that one. So, of course, he starts playing it. And he's like, ooh, this is interesting. Well, Jennifer's looking over his shoulder. Something happens, they get called away, so he, hangs up the phone, blah, blah, blah. Next day, they're looking at the news, they're like, oh my goodness, because what they discover, and as the audience knows, is that while he was actually playing the game, real things were appearing on the screen in NORAD, as if this was really happening. There's enemy fighters, we see missiles about to penetrate our airspace, what do we do? Oh my goodness, and of course, when David turns off the machine to go get dinner or whatever, it clears up. So now there's nothing on the screen anymore. So like, whoa, we were about to go to DEFCON 3. What's going on? Next day, they're watching the news and they see like, uh-oh, these things really happen. Now the feds are really after them. David gets arrested by the FBI, taken to NORAD, where they can't believe this is just a big mistake. They're like, oh, that's impossible. That can't really be what's going on. This guy's secretly a spy or a saboteur. He works for a foreign nation. He's not really a wacky high school kid. And then, of course, throughout they've got him locked in a room. And using MacGyver-like ingenuity, David's able to escape from his room where he's chained up. He's not really chained up. You just lock him in like the infirmary or something. He's able to escape with a band of tourists who are touring NORAD for some reason. I don't want to spoil everything. I don't want to give it all away. But suffice to say, the original Whopper program was written by this guy named Falcon, okay, using basically kind of artificial intelligence. That's what the program Whopper is. It's artificial intelligence. It's a learning program, kind of like Skynet from the Terminator movies, if you know what I'm talking about. Kind of like a learning program. So it can anticipate things, but the one lesson that Falcon could never teach him was that sometimes the safest route is not to play. You know what I'm saying? Because there isn't, in reality, where the military deals with concepts like acceptable losses, the computer should learn, and we should all learn, that there's no such thing as an acceptable loss. Okay? So don't play thermonuclear global war or global thermonuclear war. Either one. Don't play either one. Okay? Don't do it. Now, the writing team, using similar themes, went on to write the movie Sneakers in the early 90s with Robert Redford. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, highly underrated. But also deals with hacking and that sort of thing, those kind of themes. They brought in the director, Martin Brest, who went on to do many things like Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, Gigli, if you remember that one. That was a good one. And he was fired after 12 days because they felt like his approach was way too dark. You know what I mean? It was like, because at this time, there were a lot of movies coming up about, oh my God, the Russians are going to destroy civilization. There's going to be nuclear war. We're all going to die. There's a lot of this kind of Cold War hysteria in the films. And this kind of played into this as well. So they were trying to, they wanted some of that, obviously, to create the excitement and the tension, but they didn't want it to be like, you know, the day after, where everyone's, where you leave the theater and jump off a bridge. They want to have, you know, some positive things in there as well. So they brought in the new director, John Badham, who went on to do movies like, he'd already done Saturday Night Fever, which obviously lends itself to WarGames. He went on to do Short Circuit, hey? He went on to do Stakeout and several other things, so good for him. Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy were already cast. This is actually both their second movies. Matthew Broderick had already been in a film earlier that year called Max Dugan Returns, and he'd actually had a lot of success on Broadway prior to this, doing a lot of Neil Simon plays. Ali Sheedy, earlier this year, had been in Bad Boys, not the one with Will Smith, but the original with Sean Penn and Isai Morales, okay? So they were both kind of young, upcoming actors. Now, Dabney Coleman is in this, like I said. He plays McKittrick, who's the guy in charge of the computer part of NORAD, okay? It was his seemingly bad idea to say, hey, let's turn over everything to the computers. That's never a good idea, by the way. If in reality or in film, do not say, let's turn everything over to the computers. Don't do it. Be it 2001 The Space Odyssey, right? That didn't work so well. Hal flipped out. Don't do it. Computers are always going to turn evil and try to kill us. So don't do it, okay? Anyway, Dabney Coleman, there was a period there from like 77 to like 86 where practically every movie had Dabney Coleman in it. Every movie, okay? He was in, even movies you don't think he's in, he just pops up. You're like, oh, hey, there's Dabney Coleman. I mean, he was obviously in this. He was in, 9 to 5. He was in Tootsie. I just watched North Dallas 40 with Nick Nolte. He's in that too. He's everywhere. You can't throw a rock without hitting Dabney Coleman at least 3 times. So there you go. Good times. We all love Dabney. Why isn't he back? Let's throw a little love Dabney's way. Okay? Is that too much? His name's Dabney, for goodness sake. Help a brother out. Anyway, he's in this. He does Dabney Coleman things, which just means he's kind of a jerk. That's what he does. He's like, what's up with this kid? I'm doing a Dabney Coleman impression in case you didn't catch it. You know, he's obviously a foreign national doing something. Okay, moving on. It is still streaming instantly on Netflix. It currently has a 97% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It's great. I mean, you know, a lot of the computer stuff's a little dated. There's a lot of like floppy disks. A lot of floppy disk action, if you know what I'm saying. That's not an obscenity, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't ask, okay? So there you go. It's fun. It gets the job done. I was laughing because this is early 80s fashion, okay? Which it might as well be late 70s fashion. This is before all the pastels and the neon, okay? Before Miami Vice changed fashion forever, okay? So it's a lot of Jordache jeans, you know what I'm talking about? Okay, it's a good time. That's good for a laugh anyway. So check it out just for that. Next week, moving away from the thrilling stylings of WarGames into the comedic masterpiece starring Leslie Nielsen, The Naked Gun, from the files of Police Squad, currently streaming instantly on Netflix. Rush out and see it if you have not seen it. Hilarious, hilarious, and more hilarious, okay? So check it out. Send me any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, questions, or comments, and I may just talk about it on the show. Don't forget movie suggestions, okay? I'd love to hear what movies you're dying to have me talk about, okay? Good times had by all. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote, and here it is. Shall we play a game? It had to go with that one, right? That's the iconic. You got to do it, okay? That's the one, okay? So there you have it. Good times. Don't forget to go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us the thumbs up. So, subscribe on our page on YouTube. It's totally free. And follow me on Twitter at The B Movie Club. Don't forget to spread the word. Next week, The Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad. Thank you for joining us and be well.